Yeah, 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 yeah. Hey, hey, hey.
Stutter, my brother, what's happening?
Hey, fantasy, in session. We talking touchdowns, receptions, interceptions. They got a ban the kicker, we need that correction. Swap them out, we flexing. How many of y'all you collect? We tryna get that winning record. Fantasy, in session. Fantasy, in session. Fantasy, in session. Fantasy, in session. Fantasy, in session.
What up, though? And we back. Week 2, baby.
What it is, hope
Yes,
it's what it
sir.
should be. Welcome to another episode of Fantasy in Session, the podcast powered by Real Deal Fantasy HQ. Today is September the 15th, and the boys are back in town. Wherever it is that you're listening to this, make sure you subscribe, tell a friend, give us a like, give us a review, tell us how we help you win your leagues, etc., etc. How y'all doing, fellas? What's going on?
Doing pretty good, man. We got week 1 out the way, bro. You know, we got a little bit of data points that we could work with now. I think I did pretty good in all my leagues, except a few of them. But I lost to a team that scored like 250 freaking points. So I think he would have beat everybody in all of fantasy this week. So I ain't tripping. But yeah, as a whole, man, we're pretty good.
How'd you do in the session takeover? Bro, I got a hangnail. That bitch hurt so bad.
We know, bro. We know. Bro. This boy acting like the hangnail is just like this the worst pain ever, bro.
Bro,
that should be hurting.
It feels like something is about to explode out my finger.
I thought you had a headache, Javard. Thought you was sick, bro. Like, no, I just got a hangnail. What?
Anyway, man, how you doing this session takeover?
I won my first game. I scored like 200. I think 287. So did pretty good. I had the combo of Kyler and Jameis Winston, who had a really good game. So
that's crazy.
My 2 quarterbacks do good, man. I think you'll be all right. And you're tight. You need a good tight end too. But
you gotta have a good tight end.
Look, I got the same quarterbacks in the session takeover, and I got Hawkinson at tight end. So
yeah.
I was up there at the top 2 this week.
That is noise. That is noise.
Let's give them a moment of silence out. 8 seconds. On the back of that. And we back. All right, man. Bro, you're not about to call me. Like, why you calling me for work at 7:00? That's crazy. Anyway,
what the fuck?
Bro, it's so crazy. It's like fantasy football, Thursday night football is tomorrow, bro. I'm off the clock. I don't, I'm going to get paid by the hour. Anyway, something in the news and notes since the last time we potted. Shout out to Tyson Williams, man, for going out there and not busting. Pause. But but John Harbaugh came out there and suggested that the Ravens will use every running back. How much stock are you putting in that?
Pretty good bit. I mean, he said that, and then towards the end of that game, Latavius Murray was used a lot down the stretch. He scored a touchdown, I want to say. So I think Tyson Lonzo keeps playing like this. He should have that like J.K. Dobbins role on lock, and then Latavius Murray will fill in for that Gus role.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I think it might be more 50-50 split or somewhere around there, but at least Williams is getting the receptions right now. If that stay the same, then I like Williams.
Yeah, it was I want to say one of those targets was designed. It was like on a swing route, and then the other 2 were kind of just like dump offs. So it was good to see him involved because I think he saw like 4 targets, and no other Ravens running back has gotten that many targets in the game for a while. So that was good to see.
Brandon Ayuk, of course, he had to disappoint in Sunday.
Ayuk.
I was about to say, damn, I said his name wrong. But
you did. It's Ayuk.
That was gross, bro. I thought he was hurt. He wasn't hurt. Apparently, he hasn't earned the reps, but he went crazy last year. I don't know how much more earning he had to do.
Yeah,
How
I
do you
think
feel about that? That's so weird.
Because a lot of people thought it was because he was coming off the hamstring, and that might have something to do with it. But he was used on one of the punt. I don't know if he was used primarily as the punt returner, but he was back there for one of the punt returns. And I don't think you put a guy back there that's coming off an injury on punt return. So I think in terms of him and Sermon, man, it might have been a case of like some type of punishment that you're just not telling the public. But I guess we gotta wait and see.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
Speaking
Definitely
of
can't
San
start
Francisco, speaking of the San Francisco running backs, we all know Raheem Mostert is out for the year. Well, not out for the year, but he's on the IR. I think he can come
he's
back.
out for the year.
Is out for the year?
Mhm.
That was like 8 weeks. All right, so he's out
It
for
was
the
at
year.
first, and then he had meet with his doctor, and they said it was best to have season-ending surgery.
The waiver wire dash to Elijah Mitchell. How y'all feel about that? How much money did you spend on Elijah Mitchell?
How much did I bid?
Yeah.
Right. I bid like 25, 20, 25.
Yeah, I bid 60% of our starting budget, and it didn't help. Well, I got him in one league, but in the other league, I didn't get him. My brother, if y'all know, he has a trend of spending $100 on a player after the first week, and he held true to that, and he put $100 on Elijah Mitchell, and he got him. So speaking, you fucking asshole.
Speaking of Elijah Mitchell, man, we got a user that is questioning should he start Elijah Mitchell or Saquon Barkley. Are we at that place?
All right.
Yes, we are. We are definitely at that place.
If Saquon Barkley is starting,
I'm throwing him out there again. Yeah, I'm throwing Saquon out there one more week. Just to after that, then we just gotta call it how we see it.
I'm starting Mitchell over him. I think even if Trey Sermon takes over this backfield this week, we know that they use a committee back there, so we know he's going to be involved. This is one of the most efficient run teams. And Saquon, we saw last week, we're going to get into him a little soon, but we saw last week they eased him in. He had 13 touches last week. It's a short week against another tough defense. So, yeah, I'm trying to keep if I have an option like Mitchell, I'm keeping Saquon on the bench until I see that he is back to normal.
Are we not scared of Kyle Shanahan starting JaMycal Hasty and swerving all of us, or starting Trey Sermon and swerving all of us?
It's a concern, definitely, but I still think if he doesn't, if he's not the workhorse or he's not the leader in touches, he's still going to be involved. So that's worst case scenario. I feel like for Mitchell.
Well, I could see it because you need those dominant points because if you drafted Barkley, he was your second pick at least. So it's hard for me. It's hard for me to sit him just knowing now. Look, maybe the offense could look a little better this week. But if you just need some points, it might be Mitchell because the
upside off Barkley alone, man. I could never sit him because one play could be, 10 points. You know what I mean? So,
but what's the odds of that happening?
Very high if it's Saquon Barkley.
It's
higher than
higher
than a normal running back.
The odds of a better week is from one guy that you're hoping that may have one big play over a guy that is going to see the volume. I think 10 times.
Is that where we at with Saquon Barkley, where he's a one
at
big
this
play?
Point? I am. That's how I am at this point. Yes, they said all off season that he was going to get eased into action. First he came, and that's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened.
I get one more week just to see if he can do a little something, shake and bake. Then after that, I got to fight.
I can't.
How about this, Carlos?
Be my guest.
I feel like there's some upsides in Marquez, but Cole Beasley is a safety blanket for Josh Allen right now. He's getting around 8 targets, something like that. And he's a good, valuable flex play each week where Marquez.
He got 13 targets.
13 targets. So Cole Beasley is a safe flex wide receiver 3 play if he getting 13 targets. But every week he's a safe flex play, whereas Marquez Callaway is more of a boom or bust guy until further notice.
Yeah, I'm going ahead and keep Cole Beasley the known commodity. I heard Trey Sermon was purely benched because of the special teams ability of Hasty and Mitchell. That's what I'm saying, man.
Grapevine.
While everybody's going to spend that $100, all the fab on the second week sensation, I just think, man, just cool, especially with that offense where we know what we were saying all off season that they're going to use a running back by committee. So it's not like he's coming into a role where he's Derrick Henry all of a sudden overnight. You know what I'm saying?
No.
He's coming into a role where, of course, they do run the ball very efficiently on that offense. I do agree, but it's gonna be a workload. You know what I mean? We saw Hasty
but
last
like,
game.
I think worst case scenario for him is he's 1B in the Shanahan backfield, which is
Okay,
still very
so I
valuable
got
in
a question
fantasy.
for you, Gabe. Tyson Williams or
Tyson
Trey
Williams.
Sermon?
Or
In
Trey
what?
Sermon?
Yeah.
Tyson Williams, definitely.
In what are we talking about? Like starting
No, just like which one would you rather have?
in Dynasty? Trey Sermon because
Or redraft.
Tyson Williams. He's starting. I mean, we're gonna have to wait and see what
He
Trey
got a
Sermon-
trade offer for he's trying to
I'm
Oh,
trying to
okay.
gauge.
Trade
I
offer.
just don't know where to go because I feel like Trey Sermon.
make your own choice. How about that?
Yeah,
It's
I'm going
always
Trey
good
Sermon.
to gauge
Trey Sermon.
everything.
Tyson Williams.
right.
OBJ is
You know
apparently
where
won't
to
play.
send Tyson. Go ahead.
Yeah, for sure. OBJ apparently won't play week 2. That's pretty gross. Giants tight end Evan Ingram is out for Thursday game. We already talked about Saquon being eased into the game. Michael Thomas apparently is on the COVID injured reserve list. A lot of people around him has been affected by the COVID, so that's pretty gross. We ain't gonna take too long on that. I don't even want to talk about the Saints. The Broncos put Jerry Jeudy on the IR along with Ronald Darby, the cornerback. Man, a moment
That's
of silence
sad.
for Jerry.
That's sad, man. Because even when he comes back, man, it's a high ankle sprain. That's what Michael Thomas had last year, and you saw how limited he was even when he came back for those few games. So I hope it's different for him, man. But I'm not getting excited about it right now.
Get well fast, man. Raheem Morris announced that he's not Raheem Morris. Ryan Fitzmagic is on the IR. He broke his hip after I traded a first round pick to Carlos for him. So that sucks.
So how y'all feel? He done, bro?
I just told you how I feel.
It might be. I mean, he ain't young. So I mean, they didn't say his season ending, so he still could come back. But I mean,
I'm more as volume. He should get the volume right now, but I got him as around a 3 right now, and I feel like Noah Fant is gonna get a lot of targets now. He's gonna get peppered with some targets.
I feel like Tim Patrick is a lot of names people weren't talking about, and like every time he's been put on the field, like in the position where he had to play, I feel like in a predominantly where he was getting a lot of snaps, his name always pops up, you know. So
it just sucks as a fantasy player. You're like, oh, CeeDee Lamb, OBJ, all these guys are cool names, and you got like Tim Patrick.
Yeah,
He's stupid.
I still like.
I get it, but you got to look past it. Definitely.
I still like Courtland Sutton though.
Yeah, more like I'm treating him more like a. I mean, he could definitely put up wide receiver 2 numbers, but I would feel comfortable with him as my wide receiver 3 right now.
I can dig it.
Rojo, after the fumble and being benched for the rest of the game, pretty much is expected to exit the doghouse, quote unquote, and will start against the Atlanta Falcons on Sunday. How much stock are y'all putting in? I guess we'll get to that when we get to the game. Marshawn Lattimore is apparently having thumb surgery.
Mm-hmm.
That's big news. That's all the news I got. Le'Veon Bell and Devonta Freeman were signed for a day and they were dropped. So I hope y'all didn't go out and spend no money on Le'Veon.
They got
Bell.
cut, both of them?
That's what it said. Oh, well, not be activated. My bad. I misspoke.
Okay,
I was about to say, my guy.
They should be cut.
Dude,
I'm foreshadowing. But y'all got anything I missed?
Sound good to me.
Yeah, that's about it.
All right, man. Let's get into what the people are here for. The best game by game breakdown in the fantasy land. We start with Thursday night football. Do they got a song for that yet?
Do they got a dance? I don't know, Gabe.
Not like a dance, like are you ready for some
I know what you mean.
football? Or like,
Yeah,
I've been waiting all day for a Sunday night.
If they do, I'm not aware of it.
Right.
I'm not aware of it.
Look it
It's
up.
Thursday. Frick it. Or it's thirsty Thursday. What Troy say? Whatever Troy say. But anyway, man, Thursday night. Thursday night football. We got the Giants at the Washington football team. 3.5 point over favorites with an over under 40.5 points. Tyler Heineke is stepping in as the starter. Of course, like I mentioned, Fitzpatrick was hurt last week. How you feel about Heineke. Am I saying his name right? Heineke as your starting quarterback.
Not comfortable at all with that. I'm not touching him in fantasy, even in 2 QB leagues. I mean, if you have to, I guess, because I mean it's a QB, so you want to start a QB if possible in your super flex spot. But if I can avoid it, I am avoiding it. As far as the rest for the starts, Logan Thomas, he only had 3 targets, but he did catch all of them for 30 yards and a touchdown. They only threw the ball 21 times, so it wasn't really like a big piece of the pie really for him to have. So I think I'm cool with starting him. Giants also gave up a nice game to Noah Fant last year, so I think he's like a top 10 tight end. I think I'm safe starting him there. Galladay, more like a wide receiver 3. He looked better than expected in his first game with the Giants. He was second on the team in routes behind Shepard, and he did see 2 end zone targets. So he didn't catch any of them for a touchdown, but that's something good to see. Like, I want to see my receiver get targeted in the end zone because it's the best chance for a touchdown. So as that chemistry picks up, I think Galladay will get better and better. But for now, I think I'm cool with him as a wide receiver 3. He'll also be going against William Jackson, graded out as a 58 last week by PFF. So Shepard, I think he is a start. I think he's the guy out there for now until Kenny G gets up to speed. He has that connection with Daniel Jones, so I guess it shouldn't be too surprising. But yeah, so he was the number 1 out there. He was targeted on 22% of his routes and had a 2.83 yards per route run, which is 13th best last week. You go ahead.
My money was on Darius Slayton for some reason. I just always thought he led, but I guess he was the only one healthy. He played the whole year,
he's more like the big play guy too, though.
Right.
Yeah.
I just liked him at his ADP. He was so late.
Yeah,
so Shepard would have been a good play.
Yeah, so you have the connection with Danny Dimes, and then he also has a good matchup against Kyle Fuller, who allowed an 83% catch rate last week. So those are my starts. Sits, I really only have 1 sit, and that's McKissick. We know that his receiving usage is what really gave him value last year, but he only saw 1 target last week. So that's not – I mean, it is 1 week. It's not big enough sample size to really, make a final judgment, but I'm going to go ahead and leave him on the bench until we see him more used in the passing game. Fringe starters, we talked about this already. Barkley, of course, if you unless you have better options – you're going to go ahead and start him because he does have the upside to win your week in 1 play. But if you do have some of these fringe RB2s like the Tyson Williams and the Elijah Mitchells, I wouldn't be opposed to starting him over that. So he saw 13 opportunities for 27 yards last week. That eased him in after that ACL injury. And I think he could see more of that same usage on a short week against the tough Washington defense. Also, road dogs in a low projected scoring game. I think it was, 40.5. So not a lot of points to be scored. So, of course, I'm not going to say just to sit him, but if you're starting him, you have to temper expectations on him. Daniel Jones is another fringe starter for me. Superflex, I'm fine with him as a QB2. His rushing touchdown saved the day, and that's he can do that. He can get you points with his legs. So I think he'll need to do that again.
I like that.
Yeah, so Daniel Jones, fringe starter in Superflex leagues.
Scary Terry is listed at a 71.5 point yards. Are you leaning the over or under? I'm going under 71.5.
Yeah, that's a lot of yards, especially with Heineke out there.
Yeah,
I think I would go under too. I haven't really looked at betting lines yet, but just off top of my head, I would go under.
I feel like that's an easy play. Anything else from that game? I wanted to mention Antonio Gibson about his 2 fumbles last week, so that's something just to be on the radar for. So I know you mentioned J.D. McKissick. If he keeps with these fumbles, that could be something to be watchful for. On to the next game, we got the Saints 3.5 point favorites at the Panthers with an over/under of 44 points. We saw Jameis Winston come out there, throw for 148 yards and 5 touchdowns last week. Jafar, how you feel about Jameis this week? I told y'all once he was able to see, he was going to come out here, he was going to be a brand new quarterback, and look what happened.
Well, Jameis was on fire last week. Some of that should roll over to this week with some touchdown regression. The Panthers defense posted the 10th worst pass defense last season, and they gave up the 12th most fantasy points to quarterbacks last year as well. Meaning Winston is in line for another decent game, and you can start Winston wherever you have him. Kamara, he's a stud. You can start him. Tony Jones got.
Oh, really? I can. Thanks.
Right. Tony Jones got a decent amount of work last week in the blowout. He's more of a handcuff and not worth starting, but monitoring at the moment because they do seem like a team that want to run the football a lot, like Coach Payton mentioned in the offseason. Wide receivers, they are going up against a defense that gave up 8 yards per target in 2020, and Winston is spreading the ball around. He had 8 different receivers last week. I'm kind of worried about Callaway, but some more usage should come up this week. I don't mind you starting him, but you start him in the flex. Right now, I'm looking at Callaway as more as a boom or bust. Really, all the receivers and tight end, I'm looking at them as boom or bust right now for the Saints. And so I said that about tight end. Troutman and Juwan Johnson split time at tight end. Troutman was targeted 6 times. Johnson was targeted 3 times, but two of those targets were touchdowns. I would sit both and wait to see it out. It's just like boom and bust on that offense, except for Jameis Winston and Kamara. You got something else?
Yeah, I agree with you, man. It just wasn't enough targets last week for us to like make a accurate depiction of what we're actually going to see going forward. And I think Los mentioned it last or somewhere he mentioned it, that how efficient, like, what did you say? And he was the first quarterback to throw for less than 150 yards with 5 touchdowns.
Yeah, I got that from somebody on Twitter. I forgot who it was, but
that's a lot of touchdown deodorant.
Exactly. The good thing though about Winston is he did have 4 end zone throws. So as long as he's still taking shots to the end zone, then I don't think, even with the touchdown regression, I still think he'll be fine because he has a great chance at a touchdown as long as he's doing that. Guys like Russell Wilson, they're always near the top in end zone throws, and we see what he does with that. So I'm still fine with him. Just, can't expect 5 touchdowns every week. As far as the tight ends go, they didn't split time. Troutman ran way more routes than Johnson. He was on the field way more than him. Johnson got the 2 touchdowns, and that's what people want to look at. But you have to look at the guy that's on the field more. So I think as he's on the field more, the targets and the points will come. I'm not starting any of them, but I just want to let people know that Juwan Johnson wasn't on the field like that. So you're not going to be able to just come in and get a couple snaps and get 2 touchdowns every week. So definitely want to pump the brakes on Juwan Johnson.
On the other side of the ball, we got Sam Darnold threw for 279 yards, 35 attempts, and a touchdown last week. Had a 78% adjusted completion rate. He was the 8th graded passing quarterback according to PFF.
Boy, look good, boy.
Yeah, it did.
Adam Gates, bro. He's so bad.
He pulled up, but he got to pull up and see the Saints though, and they dominated last week. They made a team that me and Los we said they was gonna go to the Super Bowl. Now I think I should have picked the Cardinals for sure, but
Cardinals?
They came, huh?
The Bucks? You mean the Bucks?
No, I meant the Cardinals.
Cardinals. Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm switching my pick. So if you're gonna let me, I'll switch my pick to the Cardinals right now.
No, bro.
Nope.
That's good. But yeah, I'm sitting Sam Darnold this week. How you feel about Sam Darnold?
Yeah. Everything you mentioned, I'm feeling that was the 3rd best pass defense in 2020. So yeah, he's definitely a sit.
CMC, he damn near had 200 all-purpose yards last week. He's a start with no touchdowns. Imagine if he would have had a touchdown, that'd have been crazy. But Robbie Anderson,
running back, no touchdowns.
That's touchdowns. Crazy. It wasn't a lot of competition though this week, but that's there. It was like preseason. I mean, it was competition, but it was like preseason week 1. It was so gross out there. Like Mike Evans and Julio Jones combined for 9 points. That's crazy. Robbie Anderson and DJ Moore and Terrence both out targeted Robbie, but Robbie did score the touchdown. That was his only catch for 57 yards. It was a big play. DJ Moore did have the better matchup last week against the undrafted rookie. Paulson Adebo and Brandy Roby are expected to cover the outsides now. Adebo is a part of the interim crew now that Marshawn Lattimore is out. So DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson. Could see a better matchup this week. Terrence Mitchell, I still don't think this. Terrence Marshall, still don't think this is a week for him. He's going up against Gardner Johnson, who's one of the better slot corners in the league. So I think you just wait it out for him again. But I think you could start Robbie and DJ Moore this week. I feel like they both have favorable matchups, and I feel like they'll have to throw the ball a lot.
Cool with DJ Moore.
Right.
I'm not cool with Robbie.
Yeah, I'm worried about Robbie.
I think you just had the matchup was better for DJ Moore last week. Me personally.
Marshall, they look like Marshall got a couple red zone targets, and he led them in targets. And your rookie, bro, might be. I don't know, bro.
Led in targets.
I mean, he was second in targets. My bad. Marshall was. So I'm kind of worried. I don't like him nothing higher than a flex play, Robbie Anderson. But if you can sit him for somebody else, Mike Williams, Antonio Brown, somebody, something like that. But yeah.
Yeah, I'm worried about it because he ran one less route than DJ Moore, but he was targeted on only 9% of his routes, bro. That is very alarming. This is a guy that had connection with Darnold coming into the year, and it just wasn't there. Like he got.
Is that not indicative to the matchup though?
Matchup has something to do with it, but I don't think he just was shut down to the point where he only saw a target on 9%. Like a guy, Terrence Marshall was that much. He's a rookie, bro. He saw a target on 20% of his routes. So, if it doesn't happen this next week, then maybe we'll just chalk it up to a bad matchup. But if it continues, then I think he might just be the odd man out, bro. Like it's 9% of his routes is pretty bad. So. And it's not like he was just on one side of the field. Like he saw the matchup that Moore saw too. Moore probably saw more than him, but I think they both saw their mixture of these cornerbacks. There wasn't no shadow situation out there. So,
like Javar always says, man, you got to follow the money, and they just paid him, so I don't think they'll write him out the script that fast. Any tight ends? I said no to the Panthers tight ends. They had like 4 targets combined, but it was gross out there.
Let's before we move on, let's talk about some names that you would start over him or not.
Over who?
Devontae Smith or Robbie Anderson?
Smith.
Devontae Smith.
Corey Davis or Robbie Anderson?
Corey Davis.
DJ Chark or Robbie Anderson?
Shark. He had like 13 targets or something.
12.
Shark Shark. Yeah. Shark.
One more.
These are all wide receiver ones, though. You know what I mean? I'm not starting. Not wide receiver ones in fantasy. I'm saying that wide receiver ones on their team. I still think
these are all guys we have ranked around.
Yeah.
Robbie Anderson though.
It's true. Robert Woods or Robbie Anderson.
Robert Woods.
Even after his four targets.
He would a better quarterback. He in the system. It's just the game we play.
We gonna get started because I feel like Sam Darnold.
He also got targeted more than Robbie Anderson did.
He only had 4 targets.
How much did Robbie have?
Like 3, I think. He had 3 in 1 catch. One more. That's crazy. Yeah. You got anything else though?
No, that's it.
On to the next game. We got the Bengals at the 2.5-point favorite. Bears, the over-under 45 points. A lot of big stories around this week. We had Joe Mixon not breaking out, but just welcoming himself back to the party. We had Jamar Chase catching balls, Paul.
He can't catch.
Yeah, that was crazy. I think that was a troll that he came out and said that he couldn't see the ball. That was wild.
Remember I said that shit too, how it reminds me a lot of Justin Jefferson last year when they said he would be losing snap to whoever that dude was out there. Like, come on, bro. This dude wasn't gonna be losing those snaps to all them freaking tape, bro.
And now a lot of people, I faded him last week, so I think he's safe to start. I think he's safe to start this week. Who I wanted to talk about was Tyler Boyd. Are you scared of Tyler Boyd going forward?
Yeah,
I think he might be the odd man out.
Tyler Boyd or Robbie Anderson?
Oh,
yeah. See, that's hard.
Tyler Boyd.
Tyler Boyd. The matchup is better. I don't even know if the matchup is much better. It's really a toss up. It's ugly.
Yeah, they both gross. I think I would just take a 0.
Is Tyson Williams available?
Stupid.
No, he's not.
At all.
But so, are you scared off? So I guess we're all scared off of Tyler Boyd right now.
Yeah, because he was clearly the third in line. Chase ran 30 routes. Higgins and Boyd both ran 27, but Higgins was targeted on 19% of his routes compared to just 15 for Boyd. So I definitely think Chase is the man, and I would go Higgins over Boyd just because he has the higher upside. He has the higher touchdown upside. So yeah, it's definitely Chase, Higgins, and Boyd for me.
You know what I'm saying, Trap? Last week, you know what I'm saying, I think Andy Dalton didn't play too terrible. I think he just ran up against a really good defense, the Los Angeles Rams. And so it's either in between the Rams and the I think the
Cardinals.
Rams and the Cardinals, but I think those are two of the best teams in the NFC. Hold on, we got a question. Josh Allen against Miami or Dak against the Chargers?
Ooh. Damn, how do you have both of these guys? How do you have both of these guys? Why?
That's what I was thinking. I was like, what league is this?
Jesus
Like,
Christ, man. Close your eyes and pick one, bro.
right, it don't matter.
We gotta look at the rankings. We gotta look at the rankings for this.
I'd probably just go Dak, bro. Nah, I
think
still
I
got
would
Josh
go
Allen like
Josh
3 or
Allen.
4,
I
but
go Josh Allen.
it's hard. I like Dak right there. He just look on fire, and they just look like they're gonna pass a lot.
I think Josh Allen didn't look too convincing last week, but it could have been, like I said, a mulligan because it looked like a lot of.
They got to run the ball more, bro. They literally have to run the ball more. They cannot do this shit no more, bro. They can't just pass the ball game.
Dak looked like the man against the top defense last year, so that's why I like Dak over Josh Allen right now. So
Dynasty League, I drafted Josh. See, that's a great pick. You drafted me last year. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go Dak. Man. I just seen Dak almost throw 500 yards, so I'm not really. I think Dak is a lot.
I need y'all to reflect what y'all rankings be saying, though, bro. Exactly, y'all don't have Dak ranked higher.
I said I'm gonna adjust it.
Damn. Anyway, back to
appreciate that.
Back to
Bears and Bengals.
So we on board with everything for the Bengals. So on to the other side of the ball. So I think Andy Dalton didn't play horrible, man. I think he just ran up against those Rams, and the Rams looked very good on defense last week. I'm still not feeling comfortable starting him against another against another good defense in the Bengals. But how do y'all feel about Allen Robinson, man? He was another. But I feel like we all expected him to be disappointing going against Jalen Ramsey for most of the week. But how do you feel about Allen Robinson this week?
I like him this week. You know,
love him this week. He still got the volume last week, but like we said, it was a tough matchup. So we was already tempering expectations with that. Way better matchup this week. So I'm starting here with confidence.
I was happy to see David Montgomery come out there and put up a 100-yard performance with a touchdown. Still only got one target out of the backfield.
He looked great though.
Yeah, he did. And now he looked great for the first half because they didn't run. He had 100 yards at halftime, so he had 8 yards after that.
Exactly, and it was a pretty much a negative game script all game for him, bro. So for him to still produce like that is very good to see. In a tough matchup was great to see for him, bro. David Montgomery's finally coming around, man. He's legit.
Darnell Mooney, are we chalking this up to the Rams also?
He had 7 targets. And caught 5 26 yards per catch was 5 yards. So I don't know if they running short routes because of the Rams or they running short routes because of Andy Dalton. So it's something to look into in the next game. But I feel confident to start him in the flex with a nicer matchup and 7 targets. You know what I'm saying? He was the leader last year, making people miss. So with 7 targets, he could definitely make some shake. I like Darnell Mooney in the flex.
I would start if I had to just off the Bears. Besides Allen Robinson, I like Cole Kmet over Darnell Mooney. I think his 7 targets are a little bit more valuable, and I think it would just be he's a nice tight end play.
Tim Patrick or Darnell Mooney?
Who?
Say it again.
Tim Patrick or Darnell Mooney?
Tim Patrick.
I'm probably go, I'm gonna go Darnell Mooney.
Yeah, I would probably go Mooney too. Because he actually ran more routes than Allen Robinson last week. It was only 2 more, but it was good to see him out there pretty much every play. So as long as that trend continues, I think he'll have his weeks.
Anything else for the Bears?
Nah, it seemed like that. That was pretty much it.
On to the next game. Do y'all want to talk about Damon Williams?
Not really.
All right, cool. On to the next game, man. Surprising team last week for me, the Houston Texans at the 12.5 point favorite Browns. I didn't get an over under for this.
48.
48. That is a little too high. Do you think 12.5 points is too high? Especially after what they just did. You know what I mean? A lot of people,
What they just did
it was the
against
Jaguars. But I'm saying, but they still looked competent. You know what I'm saying? More competent than what I thought they would look, especially Tyrod Taylor. You know what I mean? I think a lot of people slept on Tyrod Taylor.
Shit, I took Houston and the points, bro. I knew they were going with that, bro.
You stupid.
Nah, because I mean, it was a rookie quarterback with a coach coming from college who looked like he didn't have a clue what to do out there, bro. It was so many freaking bunch formations, bro. He was out there running like he was in college still, bro. So
yeah.
It's really not that surprising. I definitely think that it's going to be way tougher for them. 12.5 might be high. Like if I was betting this game, I probably would lean towards Houston to get them 12.5 points, but it's definitely not going. I definitely think they are not as good as we saw last week against the Jags.
How do you feel about Tyrod Taylor this week? 291 yards, 2 touchdowns, finished QB 11 on the week last week. Do you think he's a viable starting option, or was it just a flash in the pan?
In super flex leagues, I'm okay with it. I think the game script sets up pretty nice for them to throw a bunch since, like we said, they're 12.5 point underdogs. I'm not focusing too much on his passing stats. He did look good, but I mean, like we said, it was the Jags, but he also had 40 rush yards. So he's going to give you that baseline with his rush yards. We know we love quarterbacks who rush the ball like that. So as long as he does that, I think he should have a decent floor. So I'm cool with him as a QB2.
Mark Ingram came out there and got the touchdown last week for the Texans. Is he the running back that you want out of that backfield now? Was it last week enough for you?
He did, but of course he should be rostered in fantasy. But the thing with him is he was used as primarily the early down back. So I think that should let us know when we can use him. And I don't think they're going to be, in a lot of games this year like that. So with them such heavy underdogs, I think I'm going to go ahead and sit him since I don't think he was even out there on the passing down. So I definitely think he's a sit, and I would actually start David Johnson. He played all of it was him and Rex Burkhead that played all of the snaps. So I think when Ingram is a sit, I think I'm cool with DJ as a flex option. And so that's how.
Hey, you heard it here first, folks. I'm not starting DJ.
No. He's a fringe starter. I mean, if you need a baseline and your flex, I think he should have a nice safe.
He only had 7 touches against the sorry Jaguars team
because they were blowing them the fuck out. I just said.
Did you just hear he's a third down?
Early down back, but they're heavy underdogs. The passing down back is probably going to be in there more. So in games that are heavy underdogs, I will feel more comfortable starting DJ over Ingram.
You didn't hear that part, Gabe?
I don't like it.
Bro.
It
is what it is. Shit.
Brandon Cooks, how you feel about Brandon Cooks?
Start.
He's the wide receiver 1 in the offense, like we all knew. Targeting on 20% of his routes, 3.77 yards per route run. So he was very efficient out there. Matchup isn't the greatest, but heavy underdogs, they're going to throw a lot, and I think the volume should keep him in that wide receiver 2 range.
132 yards, no touchdown. So if he would have had a touchdown, he would have went bonkers. That's all I see. Jordan Atkins' play was a bust last week. He only had 2 targets, but that could have been because they were blowing him out. Huh?
You start him again? You put 200. You put up 207 though with a 0. That was
exactly. Talk that talk. On the other side of the ball, we got the Cleveland Browns. Baker Mayfield came out there. I think he impressed, man. I don't know about fantasy-wise, but I liked him. I liked the Browns versus that was a great game. How do you feel about Baker going up against this Houston defense?
First of all, I want to say how demoralizing it must have been. Because, Cleveland lost to Kansas City in the playoffs last year. So they had that taste in their mouth all offseason, bro. The game plan to perfection against these motherfuckers, bro. Gave it their best shot, bro, and still lost, bro.
The fucking punter, bro.
They might lose 4 in a row, bro.
Did you see the punter? He missed the fucking snap.
Yeah. Yeah,
Why he ain't trying to
sucks,
kick it?
bro.
He ain't trying to do nothing.
He didn't try to kick. He just tried to
He was
run.
like, fuck this shit.
Right.
I can get it.
You know how I get flushed in Warzone real quick, where it's like just 3 people on me and then nowhere to go.
Just go out shooting, motherfucker.
That's how he was. I felt him. So I felt how he was at that play. Like, they coming for me. What? Like, bro, just kick it real quick. Kick it. Yeah,
but in terms of Baker, man, I think I agree with you. He was very efficient last week. But the problem with him is what it's always been. He has his lack of rushing upside on a run-first team. So when he doesn't give you a touchdown, I don't think he threw a touchdown pass last week. He'll get you 12 points like he did last week. So I'm not going to start him, man. I just don't. And I don't see them needing much from him this week. I think it's going to be a Chubb and a Hunt game. So not expected to throw that much. He's not going to rush the ball. Yeah, I'm cool with Baker this week.
So of course you're on the Chubb and Hunt. You already mentioned them. How do you feel about Jarvis Landry, especially now that OBJ is definitely out on Sunday? How do you feel about OBJ going forward? It's early enough? Is it too early to talk about dropping him?
Yeah, because you really didn't. If you drop him, he's gonna get picked up.
For sure.
I mean,
By me.
I mean, he's like a game time decision almost every week. So I guess he's close to being out there. But yeah, I'm not dropping him just yet. Hopefully you have an IR spot, which I feel like every league should have at least one IR spot. So hopefully you have that and you can sit him or put him on the IR or whatever. But yeah, I'm not dropping him just yet. Landry, though, I think he's a solid wide receiver too this week. He caught all 5 of his targets for 71 yards, and he added a rushing score. His primary matchup will be in a slot against Desmond King, who is graded out as a 56 last week and allowed an 88% catch rate last week. So he might not see a lot of volume again, but he is the number 1 out there, and I think he's going to be efficient as he usually is, and he should give you a nice baseline. A nice sleeper play, maybe that you don't want to start him this week, but just somebody to keep on your watch list is Anthony Schwartz, because if OBJ doesn't, if he doesn't come back anytime soon, Anthony Schwartz would be the next guy up. He was third on the team in routes ran, but he was targeted on 29% of those routes. So when he's on the field, he is being targeted. Of course, that's going to be volatile till we see him run more routes. But I definitely think he should be on your watch list. And even this week, like if you need a ceiling play, maybe a deep league desperation flex play, because the cornerbacks, Hargraves and Mitchell, they played okay. They didn't allow more than a 55% catch rate, but they both ran a 4.6 or slower. And Anthony Schwartz is like a speedy receiver, so I could definitely see him getting behind the defense for like a long pass or a long touchdown. So just keep your eye on him. And not touching the tight ends.
Nope.
Yep.
On to the next game. We got the Rams 4-point favorites at the Colts. 47.5 point over under. Matt Stafford came out and just went crazy. Finished as a QB9, 321 yards, 3 touchdowns last week. Javar, of course, I'm starting Matt Stafford. I feel like everybody else is, but how do you feel about the running back situation?
The running back situation is pretty much it is what it is for this. It should be the same for this week. Sony should get worked in a little bit more, but I feel fine as Henderson as a running back too, as where everybody should have him and fire him up there this week. Without Sony up to speed, like I mentioned, Henderson should dominate the backfield and put up decent numbers against a great Bears defense. Therefore, I'm not that really worried about him. Carson put up 117 total yards against the Bears last week. So I feel fine with Henderson there. And then that top offense, he should get a little touchdown deal or opportunities at a touchdown. So I like Henderson as a good play for like 2-3 more weeks. About week 4 or 5, Sony should be up to speed.
The wide receivers, so of course we already mentioned a little bit about Robert Woods, so we'll talk about Cooper Kupp. Man, he went crazy. 7 catches, 108 yards and a touchdown. 4 red zone targets. No other wide receiver on the team had a red zone target. Running 70% of his snaps from the slot. He should see more, who's graded at a 56 by PFF. He gave up a 100% catch rate, only on 2 routes targeted, but he got catches on both of them. I just think the connection with Cooper Kupp and Matt Stafford is good, but Robert Woods scared me a little bit with the 4 targets. He'll be matched up against Rock Ya-Sing, who is the harder matchup between the two. How do you feel about Robert Woods?
Yeah, it did raise some flags for him. I'll let Jabbar take that. I'll let Jabbar take it.
I was about to say it raised some flags, like you mentioned. He was only he was on target at 15%. The target share versus Cup, and he's not really good. He's getting the worst matchup of the two. So it's something to worry about. But the matchup should ease up, and Robert Woods should come back to wide receiver 2 land. But for this week, I would be worried having more as a wide receiver 3 or flex play. But if you got him, you're playing him and just hoping to see a trend because Higbee got more targets than him. So you're hoping to see a trend that maybe it was a matchup play. And a lot of people was wrong. Everybody was saying it was going to be Robert Woods here. And look, Cup came out.
Always Cooper Cup.
Cup came out.
Yeah, he looked real good out there. And I guess they work together a lot during the offseason. Like they have like that chemistry.
I feel like they say that about all the quarterbacks. Oh yeah, man, they come into the office at 6 a.m. with me, man. We just throw balls at 6 a.m. and we just eat coffee and drink
Robert
coffee.
was like, nah, bro, I'll be there.
That's what I'm saying. Like I would be like, bro, I was there too, bro.
I was right there with him, bro. We came in at the same time, bro.
Nah, bro, you didn't get 100 yards. Nah, bro, I was there, bro. You remember I gave you the $1. You didn't have $1. But anyway,
stupid.
Van Jefferson had 2 catches for 80 yards and a touchdown. I still think it's too early to play him, even though that was a good sighting to see Van Jefferson out there. I know my man Porkman been waiting on that. Tyler Higbee, Jabbar, you mentioned him. I think he's a great play this week. Darius Leonard, 43 ranked linebacker in coverage last week. He gave up 3 catches on 3 targets with a touchdown. Tyler Higbee got 6 targets last week for 68 yards, and they got that red zone touchdown, the only other red zone touchdown on the team that wasn't Cooper Cup. I think he's a great.
Not Higbee. Higbee didn't score yet last. Did he
Is
score?
it a target.
Oh, target. Okay. Sleeper
Hey,
only
you said
some points.
point? Right.
I was about to say Sleeper only some goddamn points. That's key.
I think he's a great tight end play this week. If you drafted him as a late tight end, I think you got to steal.
Bro, he played every single snap. Start Tyler Higbee, bro. This is what we wanted to see last year. We didn't see it. I think this is the year he finally, returns value.
On the other side of the ball, we got Carson Wentz last week coming in 251 yards, 2 touchdowns, 23 yards rushing. He didn't do bad last week. They just got sacked a lot. He got sacked, 3 times? That was 4th. He did hold the ball a lot. He had the 4th highest average time to throw, so it wasn't like he wasn't having time to throw. He just was holding on to the ball.
He was like, this a 5 offensive line, boy. I ain't never had it one time, boy. Let me see who else open.
Or his wide receivers wasn't.
I was about to say that's the problem. Ain't nobody open.
Or his wide receivers wasn't getting open. That is true. But it's not gonna get no easier this week. The Rams giving up only 188 yards to Andy Dalton last week, so I think Carson Wentz is going to be not a good play this week. Hold on, we got a question.
Agreed.
I'm getting Adams. I'm giving up Cooper and Gordon.
Is this redraft? I'm guessing redraft. Got to be redraft.
Devontae Adams.
Got to be Devontae Adams. I think I'm keeping Cooper, man. We
right.
See Adams. I'm projecting him to be better than Cooper down for the rest of the year. But Cooper, man, they're throwing the ball so much out there, and he looks like the wide receiver 1, at least 1A at the least. So yeah, I would take Cooper and Gordon, man.
And just ride it out.
Yeah. You need running backs, as many running backs you can get, and I don't think Cooper is that big of a drop off from Adams.
That's what I was about to say. How many more points are you getting with Adams over Cooper healthy? Of course, we can't predict injury. But yeah, I'll stay on the Cooper. I'll stick with Cooper if I have Cooper. But yeah, so Carson Wentz is a sit. JT, 23 touches, 116 yards, no touchdowns, still finished as a running back. 14.
Hold on. Time out, boy. How you gonna mention all that? Not mention my dog had 7 targets, bro.
Did he catch all of them too, or did he catch?
I think he caught about 5 at least. I had to double check that.
All 6.
He didn't catch all of them.
He had 7 targets, bro. So that's encouraging to see. So he's not game script at all. He's gonna get
7. He caught all but 1.
6 of them. Yeah.
Right.
That is great news, bro.
He's
That is
worked that
awesome news,
top
bro.
pick for sure.
Yes.
So my bad. You can go ahead. I just had to mention that he has 7 targets.
And he was third in reception of running backs with 60 yards, because that was my next thing to say. The Bears were able to run the ball for 100 yards against the Rams. Like I mentioned, it was only in the first half, though, so the Rams could be a formidable matchup, but the volume should be there enough for JT to get it. He saw the 8th most 8-man boxes, and he still put up 116 yards, so that is also encouraging. So, yeah, Nyheim Hines, on the other hand, he still figures to be a big part of the offense, man. He had 15 touches last week. I still think Nyheim Hines is in that RB4 tier where you can probably feel comfortable getting him in PPR leagues.
I feel, yeah. Well, I think it might be a little bit higher because he led the team in targets. It seemed like the offense is running through these running backs. I feel like he's going to put up some decent running back 3 numbers. If he's getting 6 or 7 targets per game, he's going to put up some running back 3, even 2 games. So I feel a little bit higher on him if he's going to continue that.
Don't give up Waller, bro.
Don't give up Waller.
I'm sorry. I can't do it.
Not even
19 targets? Nah. It's not happening.
Even when he was triple covered. Nope. Don't him.
Yeah, bro.
And some of them targets, he was missed a lot, so he could even have it even better.
They're forcing him the ball, and I love it.
So I want to go ahead and plant my flag now and go ahead and do a little victory lap, because the next person I'm about to mention, I talked about him and I told you if he was out on your waiver wire, you should probably start him. And go get him. Zach Pascal, he did a Zach Pascal thing. He had 4 targets, caught all 4 of them for 32 yards, 2 touchdowns. It wasn't like right what I said, but he did what I said he was going to do. 3 of those targets coming in the red zone. It's not going to be an easy day going against that Rams secondary, so I wouldn't try him out this week. The Rams only gave up 125 yards passing total last week. But yeah, last week was cool if you had him. Pittman also caught all 3 of his targets for 29 yards. I'm still not sold on him enough to start him. Paris Campbell, I think he's droppable in redraft at this point, maybe, if you see something else you like.
Yeah, probably.
Only 2 targets. The tight ends combined saw 6 targets. Doyle caught 3 of his for 21 yards. The Rams did allow 6 receptions to the Bears tight ends last week at 68 yards. Basically just allowing all that underneath stuff, cutting off all the stuff up top. So I wouldn't feel comfortable starting one of them, but if you had to stream tight ends, if just for the people that streaming tight ends that don't have a tight end every week, if you're chasing, don't do it. Don't do it. Y'all got anything else?
Nope. Remember on this team, the running backs got targeted the most, so running backs and tight ends can't, get the same type targets.
It's the Rams, though.
Yeah, Tags taught me that, man. Shout out to Tags, man. Get well soon, bro.
Yeah,
get well soon. On to the next game. We got Denver Broncos 6 points favored at the Jags, over under 54.5 points. Teddy Bridgewater last week, he finished 17th with 264 yards, 2 touchdowns. He did lose star running wide receiver Jerry Jeudy, however. So do you feel comfortable starting Teddy Bridgewater in pretty much a comfortable matchup against the Jags?
The streamer league, yeah, for sure. Tyrod just went off, you know what I'm saying? What I'm saying? Teddy can do a little something, so yeah, for sure.
He's a nice QB2 in the Superflex.
We talked about the wide receivers already. So do you feel comfortable starting Tim Patrick or Cortland Sutton? I pretty much think that's the question right now to ask.
Sutton as a wide receiver 3, Patrick as a flex, and I'm really got sky's the limit for Noah Fant right here. He should get some more of those targets, and he was looking good last week. So that's why I think gets a boost on this team. So I'm looking forward to see how the targets get broken down this week.
Any love for KJ Hamler-Los?
I like him too, but
you said Los.
Is your name Los?
Oh,
no, just I wouldn't. He's third in the pecking order as far as receivers go. So I'm not starting him yet. I think Tim Patrick fits Teddy's style a little bit more. He's more of that route runner like Judy was. So I think he fits Teddy Bridgewater a little bit better than Hamler. I'm more. I didn't watch that game all the way through, so I'm not totally sure what was going on with Cortland Sutton. I don't know what did he finish with? Do y'all know?
Hold on.
Because
he finished with three targets, one catch.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so yeah,
yards.
Yeah. He didn't look that good. He ran the most routes on the team. Only targeted 9% of those routes. Freaking 0.42 yards per route run, man. I guess he's still trying to get his legs up under him, so I guess we just got to wait and see. But I think Tim Patrick might be the best play out of this wide receiver group right now, bro. Until I think we see more out
further
of
notice.
Sutton. Yeah, but that's crazy, bro. I've never seen a yards per route run that low. So take that for what you will.
In the other what the fuck news on the other side of the ball, we had James Robinson getting 8 touches in the game all game last week. He was targeted 6 times though. He only caught 3 of them, so I guess that was kind of like it was just the play calling was so terrible. He ran the ball 5 times for 25 yards, so he was averaging 5 yards a carry. So I don't understand why they would go away from running the ball. But how alarmed are you on James Robinson going forward this year?
Very alarmed. Very alarmed. Carlos Hyde, he's a darn, bro. Like I think we mentioned this during the offseason. Just about like, of course, James Robinson is the starter, but Carlos Hyde is better than all those backups they had back there combined. Plus, it's a new regime, so it's gross, bro. I mean, you still starting him, but he's more like a flex play right now until further notice.
On the other side of the ball, we didn't mention Melvin Gordon, man. Melvin Gordon, I don't know if you saw that touchdown run Melvin Gordon looked pretty good, man. I mentioned
true split though. True split as far as the backfield goes. So I think as the season goes on, then you'll start seeing Javonte chip away more and more. Because Javonte didn't look horrible. And Melvin Gordon didn't look great. He had that 70-yard run, but
he got the targets out the backfield also, like I said he would.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, he might be the guy to own for now, but I just think as we get further into the season, Javonte is just going to keep.
I think they're both flex plays.
Yeah, right now.
Like Javar mentioned, DJ Shark had 12 targets, only caught 3 of them. That's a pretty gross stat line. He did have 86 yards, however, and a touchdown. So the numbers, followed up. So I mean, what regression? I think you got to follow the volume right there. If he's getting 12 targets, I don't see any way you can't have him in your lineup. Laviska Shenault, he did see his 9. Also, he caught 7 of them for 50 yards. He didn't get into the end zone. He did have 1 carry. So I think Laviska Shenault, he's probably still right around that wide receiver 3 fringe range where he's trying to get into that wide receiver 2 bracket. So I think you can feel comfortable still starting him. Marvin Jones, however, had 9 targets also. I don't know, man. I don't know how many targets are like, is this a feasible thing? So is this going to be the wide receivers show and no James Robinson? Because that's what it's looking like. Or do you think
I think you can start out everybody on that team in flex.
Yeah,
they probably put him at 3, wide receiver 3, but everybody else in flex. Or Marvin Jones at a 3.
Yeah, and they had to throw the ball a lot because you remember they were getting crushed by Houston last week, so they had to throw the ball a lot. I mean, it could be a lot more of that type of game script this year. So I think, I think they're all 3 flex plays, man. They're going to see the volume, and they don't use tight ends like that. So I think it's pretty narrow route tree.
They actually did target the tight end 8 times last week. James.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, James Oshitsky. He caught 6 of his 8 targets for 48 yards. He didn't get in the touchdown. So that was pretty good too, James Oshitsky. So I feel like
Shitsky.
I mean, if he 8 targets, look at that. You got shit. I feel like we might want to go look out for him, man.
What you did there.
You see, I'm quick.
Good one.
Well, went and picked him up already.
Damn it, I should have waited. Any other people y'all want to mention?
No, I think that's it. How about Lawrence? Are you starting Lawrence?
Dude, I don't know. In one QB league, definitely not. Especially, and I know how Javar we mentioned where you drafted him at. You want to start him, but
you got to.
I don't know, man.
I mean, not in one leagues, you should have opportunity to start another quarterback. Quarterback 2 leagues, you basically have no choice but to start him.
Trevor Lawrence or Teddy Bridgewater. Same
Teddy
guy.
I'm
Bridgewater.
streaming. Yeah. I'm streaming Teddy.
He looked lost out there at times. He threw 3 interceptions. Like at one point, he threw the interception like he was throwing it to his teammate. I was like, bro,
Welcome
this
to the
can't be this.
NFL
Yeah, this
NFL,
cannot
kid.
be the same Trevor Lawrence that I was seeing.
You just gotta get up to speed. Like these guys can move. I can used to.
These guys are fast. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
I used to throw it 3 feet away from a defender, and I can get it through. Now, it's
It's so funny. It happens every year, bro. Like that first game, that college superstar quarterback comes in and gets that first start, bro, and it's just like they look totally different than they did in college. It's expected, but it's just funny to see.
At least you see ghosts.
Yeah, he did. I mean, he looked like he could come up to speed, but it's a wait for me. On to the next game, we got the Bills 3.5 point favorite at the Dolphins. You got an over under? I didn't get that one.
47.5 last time I checked.
47.5 point over under. We got Tua Tagovailoa coming out there. He only threw for 202 yards, right? 202 yards last week. It was against the Patriots. However, it wasn't explosive. He didn't do any rushing, either. So how do you feel about Tua going forward? I know he was one of your sleepers, Los.
Yeah, he had a rushing touchdown. He didn't have like yards like that, but he did have a rushing touchdown, so that was good to see. But I'm still trying to find other options this week if I can. He was 31st last week in adjusted completion percentage and had a 55 passer grade from PFF. So, of course, like you said, it was a tough matchup. So I still want to wait and see with him. I'm going to see him this week.
That adjusted completion was second to last too. I don't know if
Exactly.
Well, I guess if people knew how many teams they probably could have did the math.
When I watched the game, he didn't
look like he was having a bad game.
Yeah. I just think it was super conservative against a tough New England team.
The running back situation, are we chalking that up to the New England team also?
Well, Gaskin was the best running back out there, but all three played. He saw 29 snaps compared to 27 for Brown and Ahmed combined. But in terms of like efficiency, he was fourth. Gaskin was fourth in breakaway percentage, 10th in yards of the contact. I mean, he was tied for 13th in with 3 missed tackles force, but he only saw 53% of the target or the carries. So with it being like a true committee out there, I think that he's nothing more than a flex play until then. Hopefully either Ahmed or Brown goes away, but until that happens, I think you just got to start him as a flex play. Nothing more than that.
Any other wide receivers you trusting?
Woo, now that is tough, man. Because we have Will Fuller coming back from suspension this week.
Yep.
I'm trying to. I got him down as fringe starts because like if you have to start one, I'm cool with like either one that you have in the flex. But I kind of need to see how the target distribution is going to play out. Like who is going to be an odd man out, like Boyd is, and Cincy. It's going to be an odd man out, so we need to see who that guy is. Until then, I think I'm cool with starting them as flex plays. The matchup isn't the best this week either. All 3 starting cornerbacks for the Bills allowed no greater than a 60% catch rate last week. So if you need to start them as a flex play, but temper expectation and kind of just wait and see who's the guy out there.
Go ahead and rank them. Who you starting? Rank them.
That's hard, bro. That's hard.
I think I would go.
I'd probably go
Fuller.
Yeah.
Parker, Waddle.
Yeah, I like that. I would go Waddle though if I'm chasing points or something. He showed a lot of big play upside. I do think Waddle it could be a real thing. You know who is not the real thing? Henry Ruggs. We don't have that game this episode, but when we get to it, he is boo boo. Y'all got anything else from that game?
Brian,
are we done? We need to talk about the Bills yet.
Mike Gesicki.
No,
don't start him. Drop him.
I don't know. I don't know.
You ain't got drop
the Patriots are pretty good.
One more week. You got one more week. No, it ain't even about the Patriots. It ain't even about the Patriots, bro. He was only used as a receiver in that offense. So whenever they were in the base formation, bro, he was not the tight end out there. It was freaking Smythe and Hunter Long in a lot of even in 2 tight end sets, bro. He was not out there, bro. So he's I don't know why they don't like.
But he
him.
was the receiving tight end. He was out there when
on some plays, but it was a lot of plays where Smythe and Hunter Long were the receiving tight ends out there. Like they ran routes just like he did, bro. I just think, but they line up as tight end as well as receivers. But Gesicki only lined up as a receiver, bro. It was so weird to see, bro. Only time that he saw a actual snap as a true tight end was when they had like a hurry up offense, and I think they were just trying to like run clock or some shit, bro. So yeah, I'm off of Gesicki this year, bro. Like he got one more week and he's a drop candidate in redraft, bro.
We definitely got to address these drop candidates coming up, probably like week 4. I think week 4 is a good parameter on when to drop a player.
Yeah.
Unless you direly need somebody like a Elijah Mitchell pops up and you just have to have him because you don't have them in your running back, something like that. But I don't push the panic button until week 4.
Facts.
On the other side of the ball, we got the Great White Hope and a pretty disappointing. But I said we said that he was going to have, a temporary expectation type of game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's coming up against the Patriots. How do you feel about Josh Allen against the Patriots? I know we just said we'll start Dak over him, but I think he's a pretty confident start. I think people should like chill. They didn't even rush the ball, and that's the big thing.
Josh Allen against the Dolphins?
Yeah.
You starting Josh Allen.
You're starting him, but how do you feel like you're just going forward? Do you feel like
it was a little concerning, but I just think it was because the Steelers' game plan was great against that. They knew that they were just going to pass the ball out here, and they have the corners to limit that if they know that's what's coming. So hopefully they switch up. They've been pretty good at adjusting, so hopefully they adjust to that and they mix up some runs.
Steelers and Bills games have been like that, like the last couple of years. It's been some close ones, and where they had to gut it out. So I wasn't surprised at all at anything going on in that game. Moving forward, I think Josh Allen is still a great player every week.
What in the Zach Moss happened? Zach Moss was named inactive like a little bit before the week 1 start, so that was pretty weird. I wasn't expecting that. So with Devin Singletary starting, he only rushed the ball 11 times for 72 yards. He did have 5 targets, however. They just got to rush the ball more. Josh Allen, I think he only ran the ball 9 times for 40 yards, and he needs to be closer to that 10 11 type rushing attempts, especially when you take the other running back out the backfield.
Yeah,
and I think that's he's very possible against the Steelers. I mean against the Dolphins.
Yeah, I think he's like a flex play as long as Moss sits again. He didn't look bad last week, like you said. He had 16 opportunities for 8 yards. Had 6.5 yards per carry. He was 16 yards at the contact and also 6 in avoided tackles per attempt. So between the tackles, he is good. He's going to get the receiving work whenever they do pass the ball to running backs, but of course, the only problem with him is he has that chance of being vultured by Josh Allen at the goal line. So he's always just going to be in that. I feel like RB2 is his ceiling unless he breaks like a long touchdown play.
Of course, you like Stephon Diggs. The volume is still there. 13 targets, caught 9 of them. Cole Beasley got 13 targets also with 8. Do you feel Cole Beasley is a comfortable start every week now? Or are we still matchup dependent on Cole Beasley?
Yeah, in PPR leagues, he's going to give you that nice baseline every week. You just can't expect a lot from him. You just need a solid floor play, then Beasley is your guy.
He's a great flex play. You don't know if he's going to get a touchdown each week, but he's going to put up 8 to 12 points. So he's a great flex player each week.
Thanks, Javar. Gabriel Davis, 5 targets, 2 receptions, 40 yards. He did catch the touchdown. I don't think he had enough of the volume that you can put him out there comfortably, unless you're just chasing points and you're looking for a touchdown.
It's Diggs, Beasley, Sanders, and then Davis as far as who was out there more, who ran the most routes, targets, all that.
Dawson Knox, the tight end, did catch all 4 of his targets for 41 yards. He didn't get into the end zone, but I think he should be on your radar if you have Dawson Knox. He's in that 3rd year, or I think it's his 2nd year, right? Is it his 2nd or 3rd year?
I think it's his 3rd.
I think it's his third year. This is his third year. He's coming into his third year. We all, how we talk about the tight ends breaking out in their third year. So we might have just been a little too early on Dawson Knox, but he's been in that offense now with Josh Allen all 3 of those years. And, Austin Hooper broke out his year 3. So I think Dawson Knox should be somebody we could look at. That's it.
Yep.
On to the last game of the episode. We got the Patriots 6-point favorites at the New York Football Jets. Over under 42. Mac Jones, quarterback, 26 on the week last week with an 83% completion rate, 281 yards and a touchdown. How you feel about Mac Jones? Your fake Alabama brother, Jabbar.
Mac, I think he's a streamable option this week.
What the fuck was that?
I think my boy Mac here streamable option this week. He's going up against the Jets defense that allowed 21 points to quarterbacks.
Come on.
And they're averaging 2 TDs per game to quarterback. And Sam Darnold finished with 18 points last week against them with 1 rushing and 1 passing TD. So I like Mac Jones as a streamable option. One of those streamable guys like Teddy Bridgewater. So that's where I see Mac Jones this week.
What was that? I like Mac Jones. He was 4th in big time throws week 1. That's a pass with excellent ball location and timing, generally thrown further down the field and or in a tighter window. That definitely
is that a new stat? I feel like somebody just made that up. I want to put Mac Jones as some top of the list.
That's the thing. Yeah, that's the thing.
I just okay.
So yeah, I got Mac Jones as a start. Also, Damian Harris finished running back 19 and half PPR leagues, 25 touches, 117 yards, no touchdowns. Did have the costly fumble that pretty much cost the Patriots the game. So a lot of people are scared off of Damian Harris because of that. But the Jets just allowed damn near 200 yards all purpose to CMC, and that is CMC. But that still was 200 yards to one player. He did finish 15th in elusive and breakaway percentage. So I do think he's still startable. I think you just got to temper your expectations on him because we all know how Coach Belichick is about putting people in the doghouse.
I heard he's not in the doghouse, but running back 2, fire him up.
Yeah, that's really the only concern with him is if he's going to see limited playing time. I think the good thing though is Ramondre Stevenson also fumbled. And,
yeah,
I mean, the report came out that JJ Taylor might see more touches, but I mean, this guy is super. He's like 5'6", bro. Like he's not going to be getting a lot of work between the tackles like that. So I think Damian Harris is as long as he's not in the doghouse, bro. I think he's like a top 20 player. He's like a high end RB2, bro. Because like I mentioned to y'all, he saw 3 targets last week, bro, and he only saw 7 all year last year. So he's already almost halfway through his target total. So if he can average 2 to 3 targets a game, that's like 40 to 50 targets on a year, bro. And that's a great baseline to have for your running back, man. And that's what keeps a lot of these 2-down running backs out of the top 15. So if you can see that consistently, man, I think the breakout is truly on with Damian Harris.
The 3rd down running back did see 7 targets. James White, of course, we just seen them just allow 98 yards or whatever it was receiving to the running back. So do you think James White is a good spot play?
Not this week with them playing the Jets. I don't know if the game script would help him. I don't really feel safe. I think there are better flex plays than him this week.
Yeah, well, let's go through some options. Not for real, because people might have this decision in their league,
Jermichael Hasty or James White?
James White. I'm trying to find where we have
James White, Zach Pascal.
James White.
I might take a flyer on Zach.
James White or Darnell Mooney?
Darnell Mooney.
James White or Tim Patrick?
Tim Patrick.
Tim Patrick.
Okay. I think I like James White over everybody except Tim Patrick. I think I'll start Tim Patrick over him, but I think I like James White over everybody else.
The wide receiver situation, Nelson Aguilar caught 5 for 72 and a touchdown. The connection did seem to be there. He should be matched up against Brandon Echols, who did an okay job last week, allowing 3 catches on 5 routes targeted. It isn't that many points to chase in this matchup with the over-under being so low, according to Vegas, but I think Nelson Aguilar is a good PPR play in the flex if you just have to. Jacoby Myers, he did lead all the wide receivers with 9 targets, caught 6 of them for 44 and a touchdown. In a tough matchup, he'll be matched up against Michael Carter.
Jacoby didn't catch a touchdown, did he?
Nah, I don't think he.
It was Aguilar.
Yeah, Aguilar caught a touchdown.
Oh man, my bad. I misspoke. Thank you, good brothers. If I had to, I would follow the volume with Jacoby Myers because I do like him over Nelson Aguilar. I think.
One thing I would say, Myers averaged 7 yards per catch, whereas Aguilar averaged 14 yards per catch. So Aguilar will have, if this trend stays, Aguilar will have more upside because of the more yards per catch. But yeah, Jacoby is leading the targets.
The tight end situation, Henry played 54 snaps. Jonas Smith played 55 snaps. They saw 8 targets combined, 5 coming to Jonnu. He caught all 5 for 42, 3 coming to Henry. He caught 3 for 31. The Jets allowed 3 receptions as a whole to the tight end position last week off 5 targets, allowing just 1 fantasy point. Although that beat to the Carolina Panthers, who don't really have a tight end, but still they had to line somebody up out there, and they threw it to him 5 times. Would you feel comfortable rolling out the tight ends, Hunter Henry and Jonas Smith?
Nah.
Yeah, I mean, you probably don't have better options than them if you have them.
True.
They were out there pretty much all the snaps, so they will be using a lot of that 12 personnel with 2 tight ends on the field. So I'm not expecting much. I mean, Jonnu has a higher ceiling, I feel like, but I mean, with them both splitting snaps like that or both on the field at the same time, I think they're kind of going to cannibalize each other.
Yeah, that's why I really don't like them. But yeah, like you said, if you got them, you probably can't pivot nowhere.
You had to sign Hunter Henry, bro. Why did you sign Hunter Henry too?
It was so weird. Like it was like really right after they just signed Jonnu.
The day after, everybody was like, "Yes, finally!" He's been giving him high praise for his whole career. Jonas Smith finally has a home, and then Hunter Henry the next day. It's like,
all right.
Zach Wilson on the other side of the ball looked okay in his first start with a 73% adjusted completion rate, 258 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. The Patriots only barely allowed 200 yards to Tua, so I do not think Wilson is a safe play this week. I got him as a sit. The running back situation was gross. They had 44 yards between 3 running backs. That's pretty gross. The Patriots only gave up 69 yards rushing last week, like you mentioned to Myles Gaskin. So that's nice. I got that written down here too. So that's gross. The only thing I feel comfortable start with, there's 2 people. It's probably one of those sleeper. Corey Davis led the team in targets, 7 of them, caught 5 for 97, 2 touchdowns. The only jet to get a target in the end zone. He will be matched up against Jalen Mills, however, who only allowed 1 catch on 3 of his targeted his way. But I feel like the volume is there for him to have a good wide receiver 2 day. I wouldn't play on the 2 touchdowns, but the volume, he has to throw it somewhere.
Yeah, I like it. 19 yards per catch for Corey Davis last week. Yeah, you got to start him somewhere.
Elijah Moore is still a wait and see for me. 4 targets, only caught 1 of them, -3 yards. Brazenton Berrios. I know I didn't say that shit right.
Braxton Berrios, my guy.
I got a Z right here. I don't know how I got a Z.
I thought he made up somebody. I thought I was like, is that a dude?
Like,
who's this guy?
What's a Raisin Brand?
My bad, bro. Second on the team in targets last week was with 6. He caught 5 of them for 51 yards. He'll be matched up against Jonathan Jones in the slot, so that's a pretty ugly matchup. But going forward, man, if Elijah Moore doesn't become that guy, I feel like Berrios might be what we thought Elijah Moore would be. So I feel like he could be a possible waiver wire pickup if he's still on your waiver wires.
Jameson Crowder should be back soon, so I just
okay.
wait and see
forgot about
until
that.
Jameson Crowder come back and see how things work out.
And
Well, we know
Elijah
what that
Moore
COVID do,
also, yeah, that's true. That is a possibility. But Elijah Moore ran one less route than Corey Davis, so he was out there a lot. He just wasn't targeted like that. So rookie, he missed a lot of the preseason. So this is, I feel like, expected with Moore. You're really looking for him to break out towards the middle of the year. So he still needs to get up to speed in the NFL. But it was good to see him out there a lot.
Ryan Griffin and Tyler Kroft, the tight end, both caught 3 catches apiece, 22 and 26 yards respectively. The Patriots shut down Gesicki, like Carlos mentioned earlier. But I think
no. They ain't shut him. He wasn't out there for them to shut down.
Like he mentioned earlier, look at that.
But I do think that's something to monitor. Just going forward, that tight end situation. That's 6 targets to the tight end position. So 6 targets to a tight end position. If it was one of them, you know what I'm saying, it might going forward. It might in the year it might just break down to being one of them. So that's just something to look for. Going forward, you're just looking for any tight ends getting targets, really.
I can dig it.
Anything else y'all got?
Nah,
That's week
That'll
1.
do it.
So we got Thursday night football where we got the Giants at the football team. So who y'all got?
football team.
Football team.
Football team. Damn, I feel like we was wrong. Was we wrong last week? Did we get it wrong?
We picked the
No, we
Bucs.
was right. We was right.
How about I say?
All right.
We was
what's
almost
that?
wrong though. Hey, them Cowboys look pretty good.
For sure
man.
that,
You
for
know,
sure.
flex,
He's
man.
stupid.
All
And so
right.
I seen like, how is that a minute and some change on the clock? Damn, they
Yeah,
Bro,
Tom
oh my
Brady.
God. I cannot believe it. I think we talked about this earlier, bro, but Jesus,
Right.
Christ, I cannot believe
Did
they
I give that
up all
man no time? It's so crazy. I can't
Man,
believe
bro.
the Falcons came out
willing
there and
to
looked
lose
gross.
the game going for it on 4th down than giving time because you're gonna lose the game anyway. So
facts.
you might as well go for it, bro.
Who thought the Falcons were gonna get better? Only
All right,
like,
bro.
giving up
All right, bro. I'm
whatever.
gonna holler at you. I ain't got time to talk about them folk.
All right, man.
Y'all
We
thought
out,
the Bucs
man.
was gonna get better, boy. Y'all
I ain't got
was
time to talk about them folk. What?
Hey man, we gonna see y'all on Friday, bro. Good luck week 1. Good luck Thursday. Make sure you put your Thursday players in the positions spots, not the flex.
Yes.
We out.
Peace.